So Sensate focused touching started in the 50s with Masters and Johnson, and it was developed as for a lot of couples who found it really hard to maintain desire, or couples had discrepancy in their desire around sex and sexuality. The whole point of it is that it's a non-performance based touching. It's not going to lead to intercourse, and that's the understanding from the outside of the touching exercise. I'll move that up the way. And it's kind of a gradual stepped program so that you go through the different types of touching so that you can learn to feel safer with your partner, just enjoy being with each other. And one of the top issues that we often come across when working with couples with this program is finding the time. So you set this homework, and this is the first thing, is you set the homework, and then they come back to session and go, oh, we were so busy, we didn't have the time, sorry, we did it once last night because we knew we were coming today. And then that's one of the big issues that they're having, is actually allocating time in their lives for their relationship. So it's gradual based touching. The whole point is not to become aroused. However, if you do become aroused, that's absolutely okay. You just sort of notice the energy, you notice what's happening with your body, and then you can do some exercises to deflect your focus of attention away from the arousal and just be able to relax into it. So the goals of today, what we want to do is be able to work through our levels of touching. Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Would you like a towel?
Oh, no, this is the floor, it's right.
Okay. Well, towels at the back if you want. Sorry, I didn't get your name yesterday.
Shonda.
Oh, so I did. Sorry. Shonda, yes. So we're talking Sensate focused touching today, which is one of the programs that we use in sex therapy with couples, and trying to get couples to slow down and to get back into that basic touching, which is non-performance based, non-intercourse based. It's everything that should happen before intercourse. Barry McCarthy always talks about 5 gears or 5 levels of touching. So usually you've got affectionate touch, and that's with your clothes on, and that's just really connecting, friendship, attachment type touching, where you feel safe with somebody to give them a hug or hold their hand or put your arm around them, that sort of thing. And then the second gear is sensual touch, and that's more stroking of the neck, but it's non-genital touch. So it's all over the body except for the genitals, and it's often a lot slower and a lot nicer than perhaps passionate sexual touch. And sensual touch is also very connecting, and you need to take your time with sensual touch and really be in the moment with that person. Then the third gear is more sexual touch. Let me just check. Playful touch, sorry, I was going to miss that one out. So playful touch is where you pat someone on the bum, which I suppose we would take as a genital part of the area of the body. Pat someone on the bum, playing erotic poker, maybe doing some, what's that game with the coloured dots? Twister. Yeah, playing Twister, playful stuff. That's something that you can dip into when you want to, but again, it doesn't have to lead to sex. It's just something playful. Because we both want to feel like we have power in our relationship, that we can dip in and out of sexual play or intimate touch and not have to go to intercourse, for men and for women. Then the fourth touch level is erotic touch. Now this is where you're starting to, maybe take your clothes off. It's more about genital touching. There's no penetrative touch with this. This is more just around exploring the genitals, as well as the whole of the rest of the body. And then the fifth gear is intercourse, where it's penetrative touch, and wherever, there's lots of different ways that you can penetrate. So what we're going to do today is I want to start with us tuning into our senses, because it's a sensate focused touch. So we want to start with tuning into our senses. The other thing I'd like to ask of you when you're doing this exercise is to be super aware of the thoughts that are running through your mind. What comes up for you? You might be thinking, oh, I'm uncomfortable on the floor. That's just a thought. Bring your mind back into the present moment and what we're focusing on. Or I have an opinion about this, or I'm feeling this. But I want you to just be super aware of the thoughts, because they're going to come up. And just observe them. We don't want to be judging anything that we're thinking, and we don't want to be judging anything that we're experiencing with our partner either. We're just noticing. So that's another big part of Sensate touch, is that you're going through the experience, but you're just noticing what's happening in your body and being present with it without judging it. Okay? Like you might, if your partner starts touching their leg and you suddenly remember you haven't shaved your legs. You're like, oh, I haven't shaved my legs, it's going to be hairy, what is he going to say? Oh, just notice, okay, I'm freaking out about that. Let me just relax. Let me just put that thought aside and stay with the touch. So as I said, if you become aroused, not a problem at all. That's not the point of the exercise. This is always done. That intercourse is not the end result. Okay, so this is my husband Craig. He is alive. Sorry, he's just resting. No, he had spinal surgery a couple of months ago, so sitting upright on the floor without support is a bit hard. So he's just relaxing. All right, so what we're going to start with is tuning into our own senses. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do, you can either take a Malteser if you don't want chocolate. You can take a trail mix box, whatever you would like. Okay, do not put it in your mouth yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome to have as many as you like afterwards. But do you want to do this one? I know you like Maltesers.
I'm feeling sick.
Okay. So I don't know if you attended Michelle's mindfulness talk yesterday, but what we want to focus on first of all is just the sensation of taste and the experience of taste. So when I say 1, 2, 3, I'm going to pop your food into your mouth, whichever food you've chosen. And all I want you to do is close your eyes and explore it. Now, we don't want to bite into it yet, whatever it is that you have. Just for what the state that it's in right now, we want to explore it. Whether it's a Malteser, if it's round, is it smooth, has it got any grooves, is there any taste at that point when you pop it in your mouth? It's about being curious, okay? Then as you go along, and I'll sort of talk you through it, then we're going to bite into whatever it is that you have in your mouth. And then you're going to notice, what do you experience? But you're really tuning in, and it might be helpful to close your eyes while you're doing it so you can really focus on the sensation of texture in your mouth and taste. Yeah? Okay, so let's pop it in. You've eaten yours already? I know, well done. Okay. All right, so pop it in your mouth and just explore it for a couple of minutes, well, a couple of seconds. Just let it be there. Noticing any thoughts that you're observing. Just noticing temperature, texture, pressure. Now move it around in your mouth a little bit more. See how it feels on the back of your teeth, on your palate, on your tongue. Does it feel different? And if it's the chocolate, it's probably starting to melt. Is it releasing flavor? Is this pleasurable flavor for you? If you like, you can bite into it. Notice what changes. Notice your saliva. How your body's responded to having something in your mouth. And just swallow it when you're ready. So that's not a very long exercise, but just helping you tune into one particular sense, well, two probably, taste and sensation in your mouth. What did you notice, if anything? Imagine if we ate every meal like that. If every taste, every mouthful we put into our mouth, we ate like that. We'd probably be a lot skinnier, all of us, because mindful eating is great for that. But what did you notice? Because normally you put it in, and you go, and you swallow, and you're done.
That's all I wanted to do.
So you notice that, right, this is taking a long time. Can I just chew it up and swallow it? So what was it like resisting that?
Hard.
It was hard. Okay, so what do you think that means for you? Are you someone who likes to kind of get into things, get things done, achieve the goal, yeah?
Okay. Slow down a bit then.
Okay, so you notice there's a bit of resistance about taking your time with things when you have an opportunity. And maybe, did you get something out of really focusing on it and enjoying it a bit more? Did you get more pleasure?
When I could chew it, yes.
When you could chew it, when I could get into it. Okay. So that's just something that you noticed. Did you notice anything about?
No, it's the same. The difference between a smooth Maltese into
The honeycomb.
into the honeycomb, and then I'm the same. As soon as you get the honeycomb, you just want to get into it now, bite into it now.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to certain points, and your body sort of takes over. Says, "Well, let's just do what we normally do, which is chew and swallow." Your body's going, "Let's just do that." But sometimes that's what we need to slow down. There's natural reactions that come, as well as with arousal and sexual encounters with couples. You know, we get to a point we're like, "Right, we're there now. Let's go." But sometimes we need to encourage ourselves to slow it down a little bit. Anything for you guys, Amy, Ben?
I was a little bit the opposite actually. I was a bit like, Maltese is disappearing too fast. Gotta hang on to this.
Yeah, and I wondered, because I noticed you had your eyes closed, I noticed you had your eyes open, and I wonder if the experience is different. If you have more other stimulation coming in from a different sense, that it might make it harder to focus on the one that you're trying to focus on. It's just an observation, yeah? Okay, so the other thing that we're going to do is just tune into sound quickly. So I'm going to play a portion of music that has delta, beta, and theta waves in it. And these waves are like particular frequencies that are known to relax your brain. So I'm going to play a bit of the music, and again, if you want to close your eyes and just concentrate on the sensation of hearing. And again, just notice your thoughts. When I first heard this, I thought, oh gosh, not another health spa. But now I know why they play this music. But anyway. Again, let's just reflect a little bit. I didn't play a long portion of it. What did you notice?
I was waiting for the voice to tell me I was a non-smoker.
Oh, you felt like hypnotherapy, did it? Yeah. It's often what you hear in spas. I saw a very funny Facebook meme the other day about what if the whale songs that are recorded, what if the whale song is the boy whale breaking up with the girl whale and they're fighting, and now we're playing that music to relax too. It's quite funny. But, so any other thoughts about observation about that?
It's just relaxing.
It is relaxing. It kind of, I feel that music in my body sometimes, like it seems to go through your body. You don't want it to be too loud. Anything for you?
I think with eyes open, staring down the ground, that this carpet sort of added to the effect.
Oh yeah?
It's had like the lines and the patterns in it.
Okay.
So you can sort of, through the visual effect.
They connected?
Yeah,
Okay.
to the lines on the carpet.
All right, that's interesting. So this is what we're talking about as Sensate focused couples touching. So we're tuning into our own senses right now before we start the touching exercise. What did you think of that music? Were you tuning into the sound? And so we're just also noticing any thoughts that we have that go along with whatever's happening. Because we might have noticed people talking outside, it wasn't just the music. So you're just observing what's happening around for you. And this is very important as well when you're doing this, being present with your partner in an intimate sort of setting, is you really want to be present with what's happening and just observing what's happening. So the other sense is, are you right there? You want to lie down? One of the other senses is touch, obviously, right? So what I want you to do now is take your own hand and breathe onto the back of your hands, okay? What do you notice? Warmth? Yeah? The sensation of the air? How does that feel? Is that a pleasurable sensation? It's calming, yeah? I notice I haven't got very long breath, actually. I'd like to go a little further. Ex-smoker. Okay, so you notice the sensation of warmth, the sensation of the air, even what's happening with your lungs as you're breathing out. Yeah? Okay. Now, for your own hands, I'd like you to take whichever hand, left or right, it doesn't really matter. And all I want you to do is I want you to trace the insides of your fingers. Again, we're just paying full attention to the sensations and any thoughts. Just going back all the way to the one side. Noticing any sections of the fingers that might be more sensitive than others. And then I want you to trace a nice circle on the back of your hand. Now turn your hand over and do the same on the palm of your hand, noticing any difference. And you can mix up the pressure, do it a little harder. Noticing difference in pressure. You can use your nail to change the texture. So just tuning into your hand right now and the sensations in your hand. Now in the middle of your palm, touch the middle of your palm in little circles. Okay. Thank you for doing that. So what do you notice about that?
The outside of your fingers are way more sensitive to the tips.
Yeah.
Here where your thumb is more sensitive than the outside.
Yeah.
In the centre of your thumb. You don't feel much.
I felt a lot in the center of my palm.
More on the outside.
You feel more on the outside. And what about on the back of the hand?
Where your thumb.
I don't feel much here at all on the back of my hand here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just on your hand, there's so many different responses to different types of touch and sensation that when you tune into it, you notice it. But because we're using our hands all day, every day doing stuff, we're really not tuned into what we're actually receiving in the amounts of sensation. So I'll do this with you quickly. Have you ever shook hand with someone who's taken their hand and tickled the middle of your palm? Yep. Can you give that a go with each other now? Shake hands and then one person just take the other person's and tickle the middle of their palm. Okay.
It's a boy juvenile thing.
What is that? What is that? Isn't that weird? Like if somebody were to do that to you, it just feels all of a sudden weird. That's what I get from it. You like want to pull your hand away. Like, what are you doing? It feels a bit strange. I don't know what the message is with the brain, but it's just an interesting observation that if somebody touches you in a way that you don't want to, your body just reacts. We don't know why that happens. I don't know how you felt.
Want to pull my hand away with you.
Right. There's a reflex in there somewhere we don't understand. So consent is always so important. And consent can be so sexy as part of your couple's touching style. If you say to your partner, can I touch you there? Or are you ready for me to enter you? Or, I know this sounds like language you might not use, but bringing consent into part of your couple's sexual style, saying, is it all right if we have a hug? Are you okay to give me a hug right now? And somebody says, yes. I'd love to give you a hug right now. That's so beautiful that somebody consents, because often we're not sure where we're at. We try and make advances, we try and flirt, we try and bring up stuff, and we're not quite sure where the other person's at. If you just say, hey, hun, is it all right? Can you give me a hug right now? And she goes, yes, or he says yes. You're both in it. And that you don't have to worry about, is the person really into this right now? Because you've got consent to begin with. So that's quite an important part of it as well. Okay, honey, can you lie down? Very good of you to agree to be my dummy today. Okay, so we're going to start with one of you lying down and the other person doing the touching. You decide who. You don't get to go to sleep. I'm really sorry, but you don't get to go to sleep. All right, so you both got different jobs right now. First of all, the rules are no touching of genitals, so no bums, boobs, anything like that. So this is really all over touching of the body, but we'll start at the top. The person who's doing the touching, I'd like you to tune into your hands, and I'd like you to really connect with what you are touching. Because often when we're doing massage, we're thinking about the other person. This is for you. You're getting all the benefit here. I'm getting nothing out of this a lot of the time. It's kind of where we're at. So you're going to be connecting with what you're getting out of touching this person. Sometimes what helps is to connect with their body and honor their body. So I can say, and I know that if I'm touching my husband's heart, I'm really grateful that his heart is pumping. I'm really grateful that it's keeping him alive and the job that it's doing, and I get to feel that sensation and honor his body in that way. If I'm touching his hands, it's the same thing. I think of all the things he's done in that day to make my life easier, and he does do a lot. I'm not just talking him up. Making the kids lunches or feeding the dogs or whatever he's done that day, and I'm really grateful that his hands have been able to do that. I'm thanking his hands. I'm thanking his body for all the work that he does for me. Not necessarily, that sounds really selfish, doesn't it? For all the work that it does for him and me, and I can thank his body in that way. So if you're doing the touching, your job is to be present with what it is you're sensing and to honor their body in a way so that you can stay present with the touching rather than looking at the TV while we're doing a bit of a massage is sometimes what happens. The person who's being touched, your job is to be really aware of your thoughts. Again, just observing and let them come and go, and then, because it's going to happen, and bring yourself back to where you're being touched. Just bring it back to the touch, bring it back to the sensation. You're going to dart off, come back to the sensation. And you're very welcome to feed back to your partner. Can you do that a little with a bit more pressure? We're focusing on pressure, we're focusing on texture, and we're focusing on temperature. Okay, so first of all, just take your hand and put your hand on your partner's back. And notice what you're both sensing just by having your hand on their back, your hand on their back. Temperature, texture, pressure. And you can push down a little hard if you like, or you can release the pressure if you like. You can use your fingers to open and close if you like, a bit more of a affectionate touch. Okay, now we're going to move to the head. And I want you to start with your fingers at the head. And you're just going to bring, noticing the texture of hair, the shape of their head. Again, you're just staying with the sensation of touch all the way down the back. Down to the waist. And you can do that a couple of times. If you want to use your nails, you can use your nails to mix it up. A really good tool to use is a hairbrush. Just bringing your mind back to the sensation of touch. Now you can move to one arm, the arm that might be closer to you, and you're starting from the fingertips. Again, just tracing up the arm. If you're really ticklish, you're very welcome to say to your partner, that's really ticklish, can you just do a little more pressure? So feel free to now explore your partner's body, the lines of their body, the other side of their arm, their shoulders, their back, their waist. And if you like, move down past the hips, not over the bum, but past the hips down to the legs. Think about how many miles these legs have walked. And the fact that you're actually spending this time to be able to touch your partner. And if you were to do this program at home as a couple, you'd probably take 10 minutes each and then swap over. So it's not like an hour-long program, and this is more of the relaxed, affectionate, sensual touch, because this is a bit of a slower touch. But the whole point is not to have to become aroused, and you're not going to have intercourse. So flip over now, person on the floor. And we'll do the front in your own time, babe. Okay. All right, so now you can do the face. Yeah, excellent, Ben. You can do a bit of the face. The eyebrows, the cheeks, tracing their ears. So you're noticing any thoughts, but just letting them flow and coming back to the sensation of touch. For couples who are really struggling with desire, the person who has the lower libido in the relationship would find this really safe to do, because often couples, the person who's struggling with the libido tries to meet their partner's needs but feels like they can't. So they eventually start avoiding all types of touch, hugs, kisses, because they're fearful that it's going to have to lead to intercourse. And so by doing this exercise as a couple, knowing that the safety is there, that there will be no intercourse, we allow you to just get back into being able to touch each other in a non-performance or anxious way, anxiety-provoking way. You can't go to sleep, you've got to stay focused on the sensation. Is that okay? Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Just a bit of feedback from the people who are receiving touch. How was that for you? Were you able, did you notice your thoughts? Mind busy?
No.
No, you were totally into it. Awesome. What about yourself? Into it? Great. What about you?
I was waiting for her to give me my silence.
Right, and that's not what this is. Yeah? It's about staying present with the sensation and being super aware of that. But that is what your mind wanted. Can I just relax? And for the people touching, were you able to get something from doing the touching rather than feeling like I'm just meeting their need? I'm getting something back from this too. Okay, great. So let's swap over now and let your partner have a turn. That's a good point. It's not a massage. Just stay like that if you want. Do you want to lie on your side? No worries. Do you want some help? Okay, so again, we're just going to start with a hand on the back. And just connecting with your partner actually touching you. And then move your fingers if you like, open and close, like a caressing touch. Doing the back. And then move to the head when you're ready. Feedback any information you like. A little softer, a little harder, a little slower, a little faster. Being able to communicate these things to your partner is so important without us feeling criticized or feeling like we can ask for our needs to be met. And then moving to the arm. Just staying with that sensation. And just exploring the body in your own time. Just noticing the textures that you're experiencing by touching your partner. Heat, temperature, pressure. Sorry, heat, pressure and texture. or coolness as their hand moves away. Okay. How was it swapping over?
Awkward at the beginning. Having just been so relaxed and being touched and then...
Swapping over, yeah.
Yeah.
It is very relaxing, isn't it?
Mm.
It's so important that we can relax with each other while we're touching each other, not feeling like, okay, what's next? If she's touching me or I'm touching him, okay, what's next? Do we have to now? What are we doing? It's people often incorporate this into the Sensate Focus program, into their couple sexual style, so that they know when they say, hey, do you want to do a bit of Sensate? There's no sex, there's not going to be intercourse. We don't have to get aroused, we don't have to perform. We're just going to choose to spend some time together touching each other. And there's no goal here other than to be relaxed with one another and enjoy the sensation of touch together. The second level would be sensual touch. So probably a bit more pressure, probably starting to touch the outer genitals, maybe the breasts, the pecs, the bum, the testicles, the penis. You kind of be moving around, sensual touching. And then the sexual touching is the next level, but still no sex. I think one of the guys here yesterday was saying, having a conversation with men about the fact that, what if you were to have sex and you didn't ejaculate every time? What would that be like? It's probably a bit of a foreign concept, I'd say, but to help build sexual tension in the relationship, to not follow the norms or rush into things and the expected outcomes that your body is going, right, we know this, we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then we're done. Your brain knows. So we've got to try and do things a little differently to bring back some novelty into relationships. And this may feel like, oh, this is a bit boring, but actually when you sit with it, it's really quite connecting and intimate, which is what this whole symposium is about, intimacy and pleasure. And knowing that you can receive pleasure from touch as much as the person receiving the touch. So I hope that's been helpful. Give you guys a bit of a break before the next session. Hope you've enjoyed that. Grab a cup of tea or coffee. I think we've got morning tea at 10 o'clock as well, so have a snack. And we'll see you in the next sessions.